show. Always Irish show. Always Irish show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah. Ooh. I don't know how this one's gonna go. I don't know how this one's gonna go, but I got a feeling not great. I got a feeling it's not going to go great. I'm happy to be with you. I'm happy to be here. I just have a feeling I know the tone is going to be not ideal. And so that's fine. That's why we're here. And we got some major things to go over. We got happenings. We got rumblings. We got good news. We got bad news. Nothing's ever boring in Notre Dame land. I can tell you that one. Philip, New Mexico in the house. Good morning to you. Burt Reynolds, it's good to have you here. I can't say Burt Reynolds without doing like a dumb accent. Burt Reynolds is here. Can't start out the morning without Burt Reynolds. Oh, man. Boy, this is, John is a snakes and sparklers kind of guy. Hey, hold on a damn second. Hold the presses. I got some news about that as well. These fireworks and all this action. I got some news about that. So back off on that sparkler insult. Okay? Back off. Don't do it to me, Harry. Oh, boy. Ooh, boy. All right. So first off, thanks everybody for being here. We got a lot to go over. I had a general framework of how I was going to kind of do this show, what I wanted to talk about, but I started doing the notes for it a couple days ago. We had the weekend. I knew I had Monday coming. It's actually very helpful though. Some of my notes I wanted to go over, the tone's got to shift, but the notes are helpful. It's a roadmap of where my vision is for some of this recruiting and where we're at and all this. And now we got to shift the narrative a little bit. Not in a great way, but it doesn't matter. The news is the news. And I can't sit here and sugarcoat it. The news is the news. So let's get into some of this. I got a 618 on the line. He's going to come up first. So I'll get through. I'm going to spell out my name in the air with the sparkler every time. Mark with glasses. I don't know why. Mark. I have the easiest time in the world picturing you standing there with no enthusiasm, just like at a tailgate, and you're just doing your name with the Mark with glasses with your little sparkler. Mark, it fits your personality, but you can't do it like a little kid smiling and laughing. You have to do it like monotone and real chilled out, the way you call where people think you're half asleep or whatever, and you just lazily do it and you just stand off to the side. I like that. I needed that. I needed that laugh. I needed it. Terrence Westbrook, I think the Blair decision made Taylor want to run away. What kind of competitor is that? I don't understand that. I'll just address that one thing and then we'll get going. That's been brought up. And then Taylor brought up something, I think talking to the Michigan people about how that visit went or whatever. And he said something about like, what do you like about here? And he said something about, I like being the only one or the main guy that they're going, like being the only, something to that effect of like, I like being the my own guy or the guy back there for Michigan or something. And And I took that. That hit me really weird. Because if you're that good of a player and you're that big of a prospect and everything, you should like having other good secondary guys coming with you at Notre Dame to help share the load and you all dominate. What kind of a mind frame is that? 5 minutes is all it took. We're off to the races now. Football's around the corner. What sort of mentality is that? You're that highly rated of a guy, you're scared of a little competition back there? Shouldn't you look at it the other way and be glad you have other great guys that are all going to help you do well at Notre Dame? What sort of attitude is this? I don't understand that. That is not like a dog, top dog, 4, 5-star mentality, animal, top recruit. Those guys shouldn't be worried about competition. You shouldn't want to be the only guy, the guy. It's frustrating. But saying his little quote to the Michigan thing did really strike me like, wait a second. It sounds like he's kind of saying he's offended that we got another guy that's coming in there. What do you mean? You should look at that as the more resources we have, the better. Let's go dominate back there. Let's go legally headhunt, knock people's heads off together. Let's go. I don't love it. I don't love it. And the other problem is Goolsby and I recorded for like a couple hours last night. We had some catching up to do. And then he brought that up like, okay, you're going to -1, but you're plussing athlete back there thing. Doesn't that make you feel any better? Like, Notre Dame maybe knew that's coming and then pushed it. It's so you lost one year and it looks like you're going to lose one. As far as I know, it isn't over yet. I have not been told that's officially happening. So I think we have an obligation to say, I haven't seen it official. I've seen the crystal balls. Oh, let me look in my ball. Oh, I see. I'm like the dude in the Wizard of Oz in the beginning in the horse carriage. I see. Oh, close your eyes. I see. Oh, I see John's hair falling out over recruiting again for the 30th year in a row. Ooh, I see. Oh, let me see. There's Annie M at the house. And there's the recruits going to Michigan, making John's head pop off his body. Oh, I see it. Give me a break. I told Goolsby I was going to keep it together this morning. Look how that's worked 7 minutes in. Terrence says, John, this is 618. I know it is. I'm smart enough to make that connection, buddy. I know toppings. You're damn right. I cooked them on the grill yesterday. I made myself a double patty. I'm packing on the weight for football season. Double patty cheeseburger cooked on the grill at home. There ain't nothing better. There ain't nothing better. And oh, John, you need a cheeseburger, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I need a cheeseburger. What do you want on it? Oh, I got all the fixins. You don't need any fixins. That's the problem with America. Too many fixins. Meat, cheese, bread, cheeseburger. You don't need any other ingredients, damn it. I'll never come off that. Anyways, oh, this is going to be a good one. We're off to the races now, folks. We're getting cranked up for the season. Oh, Mark with glasses says EJ Allen's waiting on the edge of his seat for the flip. Oh, I got a note on EJ too, but I got to edit it and it's pissing me off. What about a plain bacon cheeseburger, Johnny? This depends on the quality of the bacon. I will eat a bacon cheeseburger, but it really depends on the quality of that bacon. Sometimes if you get one of those from like a fast food place, the bacon's like roadkill rubber, and it's all like fatty and rubbery, and it's like not even worth it. If you could give me some decent bacon, then it's here for the taking, but it's got to be decent bacon. 618, I'm coming to you. I promise. I know you're going to have an opinion on this. So let me get into what I wanted to say. Johnny, thick burger or smash burger? That I'm actually open to. I could do both of those. Also, thoughts and prayers to Adam Dowling. This is what you get. Adam Dowling goes on vacation. He's flying. He's traveling. Him and his wife are doing the old tropical thing, and they're out there in the vacation. And now they both got COVID. Hope you had a nice trip, Adam. Unbelievable. And I know it's not from Adam and his weak immune system. Adam's a big boy in good shape. It isn't from any of that. It's the travel, man. It's just the worst. It's the worst. You're breathing in all the plane germs, and then you're at weird places eating, and everybody's touching everything. Who knows? But my thoughts are with you guys, Adam. I could just picture both of you sitting there miserable and whatever. So I feel for you. At least you got to get through the trip with a little joy before everything fell apart on you. Oh, man. What is this? Look at this. John eats a hamburger like a savage. I like my burger with bacon, egg, avocado, ketchup. Yeah. So just say you like a salad. Just say you like a salad with a piece of bread with it. That's basically it. So I don't know. Chief, this is what I've been struggling with all last night. This is what I've been struggling with all morning. Freeman legacy works really hard and loses the best players in the class down the stretch every year to finish one spot better than we did with Kelly. Chief, that's a lot of like where my big frustration is. That's where my John is out. Regular chips. I do like regular chips. I don't understand this. You know what I mean? I need flaming hot chips. So I eat a couple potato chips. I'm crying because of the heat. Nobody needs that. Get over yourself. What's going on, Johnny boy? One recruit will not change the end goal. Yeah, you know what's messed up about that? The level-minded perspective comes from a guy who isn't even a fan of this team on the chat. And but there's a flip side to that is it's a lot easier to say that when it isn't your team because it doesn't hurt you personally, right? Mikey Poles, I just saw Pate predict ND to be a top 7 program over the next 3 years. I'm telling you this, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep your highest recruits in the class to do that. You're going to have to figure out a way. What are we looking at? More years than not of the Freeman era here as the lead recruiting and everything. You're losing one of your top ranked guys. You can't do it. It's just too big of a momentum killer. You just can't do it. But the problem is, how do you stop it? I was tossing and turning last night, you guys. How do you stop that? And then you're going to say, well, you got to close. Yeah, no kidding. You got to close. How do you stop getting your top guys poached when you're getting down the road there? Month after month after month. Oh, I log into 247 and there's, Taylor. Oh, I feel good about Notre Dame, whatever. Ooh, until you don't. Tony says, so is Taylor no longer a weird guy? Yeah, exactly. And you guys are nailing all the things in my mind. Like, you're exactly right. It's like, according to the Michigan beat, the Notre Dame guys are weird guys, and they wouldn't want anything to do with the Michigan commits because they're all weird for wanting to play at Notre Dame. If a guy flips to Michigan, is he no longer weird? Did he go to conversion camp and he's normal now or what? Meadows is more important and they're trailing for him. Oh, I love football. Don't you guys? I just love it. It's so relaxing to talk about. Unbelievable. 618, I'm coming to you. Let me get through the introduction. It's on the It's on the bingo card. Let me get through it. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni out as well. Notifications down. That way you alerted every time a new video drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, nobody in the world's going to blame you for that. Call-in lines. You know it. Light it up. Give me your concerns. Give me your confidences. Tell me if you think everybody's overreacted. 312-900-8815. Light it up. Tell Cousin Johnny all you've heard and seen. Patreon.com/Always Irish. It's the former captain. He happens to be the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. Like DX, break it down. I'm losing my mind. I'm trying to keep it together. I'm having a rough time. I'm not in a good mood. Johnny's not in a good mood. Look at Rodney sliding in here. $2 holler. I appreciate you very much. Number one cause of high blood pressure, recruiting. Are you kidding me? My heart valves are leaking. All right. Number one, as we get into this, people for my fireworks stance, when I said that I'm not going near them, it's a bad idea. There's just no upside in being the guy lighting the fireworks. And I made a big deal that I wasn't doing that. And I'm not touching it and all this stuff. Oh, man. And here's the thing, you guys. Have you seen the articles all over Twitter, all over Google? I had people sending me these articles because they know my stance on this. I got all these articles sent to me. A ton of people blew their head off and like lit a firework. And it's the classic thing, you guys. It's the classic thing. Has Dr. John, has Cotter's wife finally done him in? Yeah, he's got a lot going on. He's got to do what he's got to do before the season starts. So yeah, Pat's a busy guy. It's oh, man. Back to the fireworks. These people, it's the same story. You drink a bunch of beers, everybody's having fun in the alley, in the front driveway or whatever, and then you light one, and then it doesn't shoot off, and then you have 10 beers. And then you go, oh, I better look at it. What do you mean it doesn't go? What do you mean it didn't go off? Let me take a look. Kabam! Kabam! Kabam. And there's a bunch of news stories about it. Everybody sent them to me. It's literally the same story every time. Somebody putting a quarter stick on their head to do a TikTok dance and it goes off. Two of them I read from Chicago alone are literally people that put it down, light it, and then they're like, oh, it's a dud. It's not going off. They lean in to take a look and it goes off. God bless you. I just don't have it in me to do that. And you have a few beers. You're not quite as worried as you should be. And then it's all over, man. It's all over. You know what I want to say I appreciate? We got a couple of callers. I'll go to you guys. I don't know why we're losing our minds. I got to say, I do appreciate some of the balance. Having some people in here that are like, it's a really good class. Like, you got to do what you got to do. This stuff happens. That balance is healthy, and I appreciate you guys being in the mix. Cotter's in here. He might just be working. The guy's got to work. He's got the kids going around. Good to have you here, Pat. So that's the deal with the fireworks. Now let's get into a little recruiting, and then I'll go to the calls, and then we'll see where this takes us. J-Don Blair commits. It's the first live stream I've had since that. We did one the day of the commit. Then he committed shortly after the show. The Michigan fans really didn't like that. They were in the running for him, and then we got him. And I gave EJ a really hard time on Twitter. I came up with a really, really sarcastic, smart-ass tweet to nail him with. And I did that, and it got a lot of run, and it made me feel good inside. You're like, John, that's really petty and immature. Yeah, and what's your point? What's your point? I admit that fully, and I enjoyed it fully, and I'm not going to act like I didn't. I'm almost 40 years old, and trolling a Michigan reporter's fun for me. It's one of my hobbies. Give me a break. So I did that. I lit him up, and I enjoyed the run off that fully. And now it looks like there's a possibility that might boomerang right back around, and he's going to be able to dunk on me. And guess what? That's just how the business goes. That's just how the business goes. So when you're in this and this is what you're doing and you put yourself out there, ooh, baby, there's always going to be a time it comes back to burn you. And that's totally fine. That's the name of the game. I'm not looking forward to it, and it's going to be brutal. But if I'm taking shots at him, he gets to take shots at me. That's how this goes. That's how this game is played. And I'm fine with it. So here's where my one safety is not going to make or break ND. Right, but that's not the point. That's just not the point. The point is, for this to really get where you want it to go, regardless of a safety or the position or whatever, you can't lose your top-ranked recruits and be like, everything's fine. Okay? One safety isn't going to make or break ND. Brian, you're totally right about that. But if you zoom out, the bigger issue is you can't, more years than not, you can't lose one of your literal top one or two recruits out of the class. That's the issue. And so regardless of position, you just can't maintain momentum on the recruiting trail when you're losing your top guys. That's the issue. And so it's a problem. It's a problem. Your top ranked recruit on defense, like on the surface, I can't disagree. Oh, one safety is not going to make or break anything. Yeah, you're right. But it's the bigger image of losing your top ranked guys, more classes than you're holding on to them if you're Freeman. That's a problem. That's a problem. But it gets really, really complicated when you say, how do you fix that problem? And then people say, well, you got to close. Well, yeah, no kidding, dummy. No kidding. You got to close. How do you close and wrap that up so you don't lose your top guys in the class that you feel good about? That's where it gets a lot tougher. Is there something Notre Dame's not doing right? Or is there something everybody else is doing better? I don't know. I'm seeing people say, this is over playing time. Dude, that is such a red flag to me. I don't understand that at all. If you're such a dog and you're one of you think you're the best guy of, I don't know how Notre Dame signing a couple, you're all on the same team. Oh, there goes John's internet. Add that into the mix today. Awesome. I'm in a great mood. Keep it coming. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So whatever. Indy has 3 other safeties. I appreciate the effort. No one is going to make me feel okay or neutral about losing one of, if not the highest rated player in the recruiting class that's been in the fold for months and has a Notre Dame history in his lineage. I appreciate the effort, but there's nothing anybody's going to say that's going to make me feel better about it. And then the next step is, if you're callers, there's a few of you now, I'm going to go to you. The next step is, if you're going to lose a guy like this and he's like, you know what, I got to go. I'm going to Georgia. I'm going to Georgia because it's Georgia. I need to go to Alabama. I love what they're doing down there, whatever. Even if it's like Ohio State, their 90% blue chip rate, all of their NFL talent, the guys they put in the NFL, I understand all of that. The Michigan thing is it's an extra kick. This would burn no matter what, but you all know the way I operate with Michigan. This is an extra kick to the face to me. This Mark with glasses says, if Deuce decommits, I'll be worried. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Don't even put that in the ether. Don't even put that in the ether. But one of my notes was, you got to maintain Taylor and Deuce, your top defensive prospect and your top offensive prospect, and then round out the back end of this 25 class with 4 or 5 of these 4-star guys, end on an upswing instead of a downswing. And you end up, that's where you want to be. And Notre Dame hasn't done that in a long time, where the last 4 or 5 guys in a recruiting class are 4-star plus, and you're not limping to the end with RKGs and players with John's body type. I'm like your grandma at the VFW. I got a bingo. Oh, players with John's body type. I got a bingo. Oh, yeah, bingo it up. Players with John's body type to fill out the end of these classes. I don't want any of that. I need dudes at the end, not guys. I need dudes. You know what I mean when I say I need dudes and not guys. So my vision was, you hold on to Taylor and Deuce, your number one offensive, defensive guy. You got Blair commits. It's beautiful. You need 2 to 3 more of these receivers. I want both these linebackers. Give me them both. I'm getting picky, and now I'm in a testy mood. I want both. I want Madden, and I'm not talking about John. Past his prime. All right? I want Baremo, and I want Owusu Boateng. Listen, that's the other thing. If you can't get to a place where these people that have Notre Dame ties and know everything about it, they don't want to be here, I don't know what you're going to do. Where do you go from there? If you don't have an inside track to land guys that have Notre Dame lineage, then I don't know what we're doing, man. I don't know what we're doing. Also, some people are mentioning about the payment. The payments and NIL, what you got to do, whatever. Here's my thought. I've been hearing Notre Dame's doing a lot more of this NIL, paying guys, providing stuff, a lot more than a lot of people know. And I think that's because that's how Notre Dame wants it. Notre Dame doesn't, the people that need to know about Notre Dame's full NIL thing, no. Does that make sense, what I'm telling you? The people that need to know all those details about Notre Dame's NIL, no. Notre Dame's not Tennessee, where it's the most public thing. You know how far Tennessee's brought it, you guys? When you're in line for, I think they sell beer there at their stadium. When you're in line for that beer, there's those, what do you call it? The barcode, the square thing with all the fuzzies in it, and you do it with your phone, and then you donate money to the NIL while you're waiting in line for beer at the game. That's tacky, and it reinforces everything Lou Holtz thought about Tennessee and their whole thing. It's tacky, but that's their way to do it. They have those QR code everywhere where it's like you're in line for nachos at Tennessee and you're drunk and you want to help the team. You do that. You help with $20 or whatever, right? That's the deal. But my understanding is Notre Dame's getting a lot better and more aggressive, and they know they got to pay up for some of these guys. They're starting to realize you can't do we're not going to give freshmen any guaranteed money. You got to come prove yourself. I think they've learned that's a dangerous track and it isn't going to pay off compared to what other people are doing. So whatever. I'm understanding it's getting better in that regard, and Notre Dame's aware of the situation they find themselves in. And then the other thing with Taylor, it's like, okay, I mean, it's Michigan know they're not getting nailed? Does Michigan know they're not getting nailed with sanctions and everything? Am I the only one that hasn't forgotten about them cheating in the investigation and everything? Is that just not a concern? Whatever, man. Whatever. Terrence says, always Irish family isn't the best DB in the class. Golden's definitely better. Zachary's better. And Blair is better with same speed and way more size. But my question is, why can't I have them all? What am I missing? Why can't we have all those guys? And then we find out who the best ones are, and the other guys are depth guys, and that's how you build a championship level secondary. That's the issue I have. People reasoning this or that, or we don't really need them. Next guy up. We got Blair. You don't need him. No, the idea is to get more and more, not -1 to +1. The idea is to keep adding on good guys, not lose one to get one, and then you're running in the same place. Tex ND says, I'd rather know Taylor's a question mark now than on signing day. Well, people knew it a couple months ago, and it's festering again. This has not been a secret. There's been rumblings about this for literally like 2 months now. And so I don't know. I'm just I'm a little frustrated. And the other thing is, you guys, I told Goolsby this last night. It is embarrassing that I am going to be 40. And this is bothering me the way it is. But it is. It's just how I'm wired. I can't lie. I'm almost 40 years old, and I am like really upset and frustrated. I don't know. It's very, very frustrating. Oh, here we go. Andrew, creative one. Where'd you come up with this one, man? Wow. I didn't see this coming. I can't believe you came up with this one. Where's the direct criticism of Freeman? He's supposed to be the lead recruiter on the team. He still hasn't figured out wide receiver recruiting. Loses a top target on D for 3 classes in a row. Well, there's the bright side. There's the bright side. Welcome to your week, everybody. Hope you're in a good mood. I love the misery. Give it to me. You got to close. And it's just a bad perceptual look. When you can't hold on to your top guys. That is just a momentum killer. It's a momentum killer. This is the exact question I knew was coming. Exactly who I knew it was coming from. I've been racking my brain all morning and all last night, Andrew. It's easy to say Freeman's got to close. It's a lot harder to say, how do you prevent this problem? And without being on the inside and understanding all these details, and each of these recruitments are different, and they're each looking for different things. They each have different people involved in their camp, maybe pulling them different ways. It's really hard to just say you got to close, because I don't know if the issue we're running into is similar overlapping issues with a lot of these guys that have left. If it's a similar thing that makes them uncomfortable committing to Notre Dame in the end, or if there's different factors involved, that's where I struggle, Andrew. It's easy to just say you got to close, but it's a lot harder to figure out how or why you're not doing that. So I don't know. And now here's the other thing we got to understand in this ecosystem, in this whole dynamic. The recruiting's still on the rise. I want to be very clear about that. The recruiting's still on the rise. The overall talent and athleticism of the team is going up. It is. But this kind of stuff stops it from really getting to the next level or getting to the next level faster. Right? Like that's the overall takeaway. Like, I want more, better, elite. Like, it's never going to be enough for me because we're competitors and that's what we want. But we do need to understand, when you zoom out overall and you take a look at this, the blue chip rate since Freeman's been around is up, without this one, probably under 20 points, 20 percentage points. But it would be, 15 to 18 to 20% more on that blue chip ratio since Freeman's come in. That's a big deal. So the overall, I still feel like that talent's moving in a positive direction up and down the roster overall. So that big picture arrow still pointing up. You just can't, you can't lose your highest rated defensive player in the class and then tell me, don't let that bother you, John. It's just, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to sell that to me. You're not. You could try, and if it makes you feel better, go for it. But you can't You can't sell me, oh, it's no big deal. We didn't need him. We didn't want him. Not a big deal. He's the highest rated defensive guy in the class. If you're telling yourself that doesn't matter or hurt, you're lying to yourself to feel better because we're not even into August and you don't feel like dealing with Notre Dame stress yet. Just say it. It's not going to make me feel better. Here's the other part. Then we'll go to the calls. Here's the other part. And I've been thinking about this morning too, pacing around mad about this. Here's the other question. You're in this position where you got a highly rated guy, the highest rated defensive guy in your class, committed to you for months and months and months and months and months. Then you're in risk of losing him and you might lose him and he's gone. And it's like, well, that sucks. Like, okay, they sniped our guy. They took our dude. What are we going to do? Whatever. Let me ask this question. Why can't we do the same thing to other people? Like, I'm not trying to sit here and Notre Dame plays the victim. Do you have a plan B? What is your pivot? Why can't you go steal somebody else's top-ranked defensive guy? I'm just asking. Like, if that's the dynamic we're in, why don't you go Kenny Minchie, somebody else's top defensive guy? Like we did there. They thought they were set for months, had their quarterback. Notre Dame went in there, grabbed him, and then they're left holding the bag, and they're all mad. Why can't we do that with somebody else's top defensive prospect? That's the next step of this is where's the pivot? And I know you got Blair and whatever, but I'm saying go steal somebody. Go steal somebody. Dr. John says, good grief. ND right now is ranked 4th in the overall. I understand that. I understand that. It's the cost of having morals. A verbal commitment does not mean you cannot sniff around. You're not winning anything if you do it that way. Are you kidding me? Wine and cheese? That's a wine and cheese comment. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's a part of the bit, but that's a wine and cheese comment saying the cost of having morals. A guy's verbally committed does not mean you can't approach them. No. And if you do operate that way, it's just tough to get ahead. I don't believe that if a guy's verbally committed, you can't approach him. Nobody else looks at our guys that way. That's just a part of the game. And you want to talk about having morals and all that. Do you really think with the last 2 portal quarterbacks Notre Dame has, nobody from Notre Dame's camp approached them till they were in the portal? All those deals were done before their name even entered the portal. That's the way this goes now. Before Hartman and Leonard even officially entered their name in the portal, this stuff was in the works. That's just not how it works. It's not how it works. Anyways, so there's some frustrations here. You got to figure out how to hold your top-rated guys. You just need to. For perception, for morale, for final ranking in the recruiting. But I want to see Notre Dame steal some guys. Go find some other guys' verbal commits and get them to come over to Notre Dame. But the idea that this is about competition back there for playing time and all that stuff, where do you get off as a 17-year-old not even there yet, and that's like a big deal to you? That's a little bit much, man. You shouldn't be worried about that, and you should want as many good guys back there to support you so you put together a well-rounded team. I don't get that. I don't get that. This is interesting from Will. Going to the phones, I promise. Where is it? Yeah, I'm getting to the calls. It's on the bingo list. Oh, I got another bingo. What ND does wrong, they offer kids first. Kids accept the first offer, wait and see what they get after that. First doesn't mean you win. There may be something to that with how early Notre Dame's class is filling up. You notice the timelines seem to be ramped up. And it does feel like a lot of these guys get in the fold early, and then they know they have that spot in Notre Dame, and then the SEC comes hot. Do you remember Keeley? Notre Dame was so early on Keeley. giving him all this love, all this attention. Like, we see that you're going to be a great prospect. We're early on you. We want you. Yeah, Jake Hart, thank you. And then he commits to Notre Dame. Notre Dame showed him all that love and belief early on before he blew up into a 5-star. Notre Dame identified him as like a key dude or whatever, made him a priority. And it was all great, and he loved all that. And then later, later, when the rest of the recruiting world caught up to this, and he turns into a 5-star, then Alabama comes hunting him. Before you know it, he gone. Hawk Harrelson style gas. He gone. Mercy. Whew. Beefeater. This is a really, really good point. Does anybody think we would have kept Taylor if O'Leary had stayed and we still signed Blair? Not sure on my end, just asking. Now, this is another interesting point. This is something I got to hit. And then we'll do the super chats, and I got to get to the calls. I'm so bad at this. So bad. You cannot underestimate the relationship Taylor had with O'Leary as the main guy recruiting him, where he had his relationship and all that. And then he leaves with Harbaugh and goes to the Chargers. I don't know how big of a deal it is or not that guy lost the guy he was most comfortable with, who recruited him, and they had that rapport and back and forth relationship and all that. I don't know how big of a part of that it is or not. People are saying that's just an excuse. It's, whatever. So I don't know. All right, let's do a couple super chats, and then I'm going to bring it to the callers. Oh man. I just here's the other one more thing. When we're talking about the portal, people are saying it looks like we're going to have to do the portal thing, maybe for, wide receiver and something else or whatever to get by, or if the wide receiver, that's the other thing. When I asked my recruiting guy for an update on the wide receivers, he's like, nobody knows anything. Nothing's for sure. And you just got to hope. Nobody's really sure exactly what's going on right now with any of these guys left on the board. Yeah, not the kind of update Johnny Boy wanted to hear. Not the kind of update Johnny Boy wanted to hear. All right? But I literally reached out to my best recruiting contact, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Coin flips, kind of hope it goes your way. I'm not hearing much either way here. And this guy's got good information. He's got his ears to the streets. He's got good information. And my man's telling me, John, we don't have, I'm not hearing nothing. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to hear a couple of these guys are told Notre Dame staff they're coming to Notre Dame, but they want to take a couple more visits. Then they're going to do a big announcement. We're going to flip a hat, and the ND's going to be fat. That's what I needed to be told, and I wasn't. So now I got that anxiety, not only about this on the top end with Taylor, but now I got this wide receiver situation in my mind. Oh, Chancey Stuckey sucks. Everybody throw him under the bus. He's got to get out of here. Okay, you did that. And then you bring somebody else in, and I need better recruiting out of that position. I need better recruiting out of that position. Okay. And people are saying you could do the portal stuff to get by, fill these gaps or whatever, and you could do that. And now, here's my theory on that. Notre Dame should be in a much better position to allocate fat NIL money if you get into next year. MJ Irish just recovered from my triple bypass. Whoa. Good. I'm glad you're recovering. I'm glad you're doing well. I don't know if you should be watching this show. I might stress out your new heart valves. Something. Be careful. I love doing this show. Even when I'm in a bad mood, I love doing this show. God bless you, MJ Irish. Don't let nothing stress you out. Seriously, don't let anything stress you out, okay? Especially me. Here's the issue. People are going, you could just go to the portal or whatever. Okay, here's the deal. Theoretically, you're going to be able to stay in-house for quarterback And then that frees you up a bunch of money to be able to go into the portal. So whether that means you need to get the best receiver out there or a good receiver and then a D lineman or whatever you need to do, theoretically, you should have a lot more money in that pool because you could start going in-outs with your quarterbacks from now on. So MJH, John, you're killing me. John, you're killing me. I don't want to be hearing that from you. You just got your tubes rearranged in there. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that from you. I don't want to be killing you. I want to be saving you, buddy. Here's the problem. Yes, you could do the portal thing and try and find a receiver or whatever, but those are short-term stop gaps. That's not a recipe to stability. Every year you got to ask, what do we have back there? We don't know what we're going to have. We got to go find it and then see if it fits. And then what we're going to have, this and that. I don't know. And so what is this? The Broken Hearts Club? Jeremy Welling. I'm recovering from a quadruple and a valve. 1.5 months. Jeez, how are you guys? I'm not even going to say nothing, but man, you got all that new stuff ticking around there. We got Notre Dame football coming. It's a dangerous combination, bro. Jeez. Andy breaks all the hearts for sure. Unbelievable. God bless you guys, man, and your recovery. I didn't realize, this show can't be good on the heart. Man, unbelievable. Anyways, my recruiting's tough on the valves. Tell me about it. Here's the deal. This is not a funny topic at all. This is not a funny topic at all. I'm just picturing like one piece of bad news and everybody's heart valves are popping loose. Your aorta's coming out. Like, this is not healthy. Son of a gun. This is not a healthy situation. Jesus. Lord, help us. Oh, Lord, help us. Oh, my word. My final point before we go to the calls for 30 minutes, I've been saying that is, it's just not a reliable, consistent thing. You would like to have one or two stud young receivers. Then you know what you have in that room and you can build around them. You know next year they're coming back and we're going to develop, and you can count on what you have and you know it's developing and it's good enough. When you're doing this patchwork, we need a receiver, which ones are available, which ones are interested. There's just no stability in that because it's a 1 year to 1 year patchwork thing. I would feel a lot better if you have some dudes and you know they're good and you know they're going to be around. It's just a lot less stress to put a functioning unit out there. That's my point. This show is not approved by the American Heart Association. Oh, I could guarantee you that. Did you guys see I was looking into that app that measures like your heart rate or something while you're live streaming? Oh, it's calling my name. If ever there was an app for Johnny Boy, it's that one. And then you could just, what if we had a meter in the corner and you guys could just see me, like just the stress and it's in the red. Oh, I could just see it. The needle teetering on stroke out. John's about to get it with that class action lawsuit because AI causes heart failure. No, AI doesn't cause heart failure. Notre Dame causes heart failure. I'm just the vehicle. I'm just the messenger. John's going to have a medical disclaimer. Oh, man. Tony says, it pains me to see LSU recruiting really picking up lately. I hate it. That's to be expected. That's to be expected. Doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't ruffle my feathers to see them do. That's the whole point. Kelly wanted to go there. LSU recruits itself. That's the whole point. More time at the golf course. You let LSU sell itself to those guys. Pulling that quarterback out of Michigan's a big get. A good job by Kelly, but a lot of it, it can recruit itself. You don't have to worry about things like reading and writing. Like there's a lot of benefits. So Kelly put him, I'm not being sarcastic. Kelly's in a great spot. The way he recruits, you could do it his way and get higher results out of it at LSU because of the strength of that brand. And it isn't, think about this, you guys, it isn't just the strength of the LSU brand. It's actually also where they're positioned in the SEC. They do have like a little radius where there's nobody else kind of immediately around, and they get a lot of guys and there's a lot of talent. So it doesn't surprise me to see them do good at all on the recruiting trail. In fact, if they didn't, something's really wrong. Something's really wrong because they got talent everywhere and not a lot of immediate competition for it in that area. So that doesn't really surprise me at all. So they're always going to have talent. It's just a matter of putting it all together, right? Super chats, then we're going to the calls. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm bad. But I had stuff I need to get out. $2 holler from Rodney. Yeah, there's the high blood pressure. We got that. $5 holler from Philip. Winning 11 plus games is how you change the trend of not losing recruits. It would be nice. And again, that's a great experiment to try. Why don't you have a great year, get in the playoff, win a game or two, and then we see what's cooking. The other thing is, if you're worried about offensive recruiting in any way, perhaps you get into the season, you got Mike Denbrock, you're drawing up some cool new plays, and the offense is more electric, and it appeals to the way these modern guys want to play, these athletes want to play. Maintain Notre Dame's power run DNA, but open things up a little bit, have more excitement running around out there. Yeah, that would be great too. So let's do that. Let's do that. Maybe this Denbrock offense opens some kids' eyes and they're like, oh, this isn't sleepy old Notre Dame. Run it 2 times into a brick wall for no yards, and on 3rd and 9, throw it to the tight end. That's been Notre Dame's best offensive plays. Give me a break. Against a real team, by the way. You know, against Navy, you could score 900 points and look like the Harlem Globetrotters on football land out there. Talking about when you play the real teams. Run it into a wall for nothing, and then 3rd and long, hit the tight end. That'll work. Psych your mind, bro. Psych your own mind. $2 holler. Do we get in the playoffs going 9-3? Absolutely not. And I'm not even sure about 10-2. I'm being dead serious. I'm not sold on 10-2 Notre Dame getting in every year. Most years, I think 10-2 gets them in, but you're going to have to go on the road round 1. But I am not sold 10-2 gets Notre Dame in every year. Absolutely not. 9-3? No way. At least I doubt it. I'm still hung up on that 10-2. Homer TD, a $5 holler. And then look at this. Homer TD with another $5 holler. What is it? That Double Mint commercial from when I was a kid. Double your pleasure, double your fun. Homer TD gives you some funds. Thank you. Tony, I miss you. I haven't been able to do the night shows as much, and that's when Tony calls. I miss you, brother. I miss you, and I love you. Adam Dowling, $5 holler. John, why would any top 100 player want to go to a school that's going to be on a postseason ban his entire college career? Adam, number one is, I hope you're getting your Gatorade and your fluids, you and Tiffany with the virus. I hope you're doing okay. I'm worried about you. Don't let us stress you out here, buddy. But the Michigan people seem to think slap on the wrist is coming. They seem to think slap on the wrist, no big deal is coming. And I don't know what to make of it. We'll see. Notre Dame's wine and cheese, $2 hour. $2 to vouch for the callers. I appreciate that, Notre Dame wine and cheese. Oh, boy. Sly Fox says, Taylor, he gone. Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. 618-818-513, the first 3 up. I'm sorry I made you wait. 618. What? Let me reboot. Try it now. 618, what's going on? I got you now.
Man, Hey, nothing much, John. How you doing this morning?
I'm okay, man. You know how I get. Man, you know how I get. You
Yeah,
should have known
look,
this morning
look.
that when you logged into this show that I was going to be wound tight about this. And the Michigan thing, you know how I feel about that. This shouldn't surprise you that I'm kind of in a bad mood. Come on now.
And it don't surprise me about Taylor, man. I mean, he's looking for the easier path to get on the field, which I think, I'm saying, listen to me. All you guys out there that's saying that Taylor is the number one defensive prospect in the class, that's totally wrong. If you put Taylor last name on Blair will probably be a 5-star.
But my issue is, why do I have to have one or the other? Or like, I want all these guys like that. But that's my thing, man. I want all these guys. That's how you build depth and competition back there. I don't look at it as one or the other. I wanted the idea is to keep building the class, not lose one to gain one.
It's not about competition. It wasn't built. The reason why Taylor might leave this class is not because of that we want him. We really want him. And he want to be at Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is his number one school. But Notre Dame, over the way that they built they safeties over the last two recruiting cycles, plus the veterans that's ahead of him, it's not an easy path to get on the field.
Man, wouldn't you?
It's not about the money with Taylor.
But dude, wouldn't you? I definitely agree. It's not about the money. That's an NFL family. They do not need the money. I haven't even considered that as a part of this. But my question,
I see some people in the chat saying, "Oh, well, it's about NIL." It's not about NIL with Taylor. It's about getting on the field.
Man,
early playing time.
I'm telling you, dude. I would like to think a guy with that dad that is an NFL guy and has all that. I would think that's a guy ready to go in and compete, and I really would. I really would think that's a guy that wouldn't be worried about the competition.
This is the difference between the two of Blair and Taylor. Taylor is 5'11". What is it? Is it safety? Is it corner? Because to be honest with you, if it's corner, you got two stud corners in the class. Then he was going to get more playing time his first year than Blair anyway, because they was going to use him as a nickel corner. So he was going to get majority of the playing time anyway, but I don't think that's what he wanted. I think he wanted to be the clear-cut number one.
Yeah.
He wants to own the field early. He don't want to sit back and have to wait to get on the field. If you know what I'm saying, if an injury don't happen or something like that don't happen, he can't get on the field. He was not getting on the field as a pure safety. He was not getting on the field as that.
Man,
he's not that.
That's
he's
just
5'10".
That's just frustrating.
And maybe 170 pounds.
The whole thing's just a little frustrating, and I would like to think a guy with that NFL lineage would not be scared to go in and compete and earn his spot. That would just it would rub me the wrong way, but like whatever, man. Like it is what it is. But don't you agree?
A kid like that wasn't going to last at Notre Dame anyway. In the way that Freeman is recruiting, because Freeman is trying to recruit a stud safety out of Mississippi for the 26 class.
So, okay, pull back off this because you're making some legitimate points. But if we pull away deeper, do you agree that there should be a little concern about the idea that more classes than not, one of Freeman's absolute top commits is leaving the class? Isn't that a problem?
I don't believe.
Or do you think these are all just like random? This happens, move on. There's nothing bigger. Like there's no bigger problem connected to this. This is the breaks. Like, how do you look at the fact that people are going, John Freeman's having trouble holding on to the highest rated guys in the class? How would you respond to that concern?
Listen to me, guys. Listen to me, John. He's not one of the better DBs in this class. He's probably like the fourth or fifth best DB. He's probably like the fourth best DB in the class. The issue is people got to understand that, and I know it from a kid that was in East St. Louis that moved to Texas. His brother was the man at A&M, Then his brother, the year that his brother get drafted, this kid had never had no attention until his final season at A&M. Just all of a sudden, his stock rise. He's got the pedigree. He doesn't. I'm not saying that I never seen this kid play. I never seen Taylor play, and I never watched any of his films. But think about the difference. He got the pedigree. That's the reason why he's the highest rated 4-star player that's on Notre Dame in Notre Dame class. You take that, you give Blair, who's 6'4", have almost a 7-foot wingspan, and he's 95 pounds. Plus, he's the same. He got the same. His speed is just about the same as what, dude. You put Taylor on the last name of Blair. Taylor is a 5-star easily.
So I guess I'm just saying, fine. I wanted them both. I want them all. I want them both. Like, I'm getting greedy, man. I'm getting greedy. More depth is better than less depth, right?
I want them all too, but this didn't start heating up to about 2 months ago when Blair started really thinking about coming to Notre Dame. Before Blair even decided that he wanted, Notre Dame was his school, you didn't hear that from Taylor. Taylor did not talk about leaving the class, taking any other trips. He was happy to be in the class. And then all of a sudden, the Blair thing started blowing up. Now all of a sudden, Taylor like, oh, I got second thoughts. I need to take some business.
Yeah, man, it's just a little frustrating. And okay, let me move over a little bit. You made me feel a little better about that. Good job. Good job on a Monday. Let's move over a little bit. This wide receiver recruiting situation, the update I got was not negative, but not really that encouraging about where we stand with the remaining names that we know are on the board there. And I just don't know where that's going to go. And that's an ongoing struggle. So what do we think about that situation?
I think the Robinson, it's about a 75% that you get Robinson.
What about Tanook the Crook? What about that?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe like a 60%, maybe 50-50 chance that you get Hines, and a 50-50 chance you get Meadows. It's about a 50-50 chance that you get all three. Because they holding their close. They're not really talking.
Yeah.
USC think they got Hines. I think it's Notre Dame. I think he's gonna finish up next. Well, I think he's supposed to. Well, next week I think is when he's supposed to make his decision. I think you get Hines. I think you get Robinson, and I think that it's a possibility because Alabama ain't doing great on that wide receiver. Is their wide receiver recruiting either? So I'm thinking you might get Meadows, man. It might come down to like this was Meadows' number one school after the boy left Washington, and I think he might And then you got to think too, man. We got a brand new wide receiver coach. We got a brand new coordinator. Some of these kids might say, man, you know what? We'll push our situation back. My issue with Freeman is, why are you trying to fill your classes up by the end of summer instead of doing what the other schools do? They close late, and still keep recruiting the kids even though they committed. Because every time kids every time kids choose Notre Dame, they're still getting recruited by these other schools. Once the kids choose, it's like the Notre Dame way, man. Like once the kids choose another school, we're done recruiting.
So are you thinking of it? It's almost like Notre Dame's a sitting duck in a way, with those commits sitting there kind of waiting to be baited and poached, like because they're just sitting there and they're like, it's a stationary target at Notre Dame there. And you only got to outdo Notre Dame once they commit early. I get what you're saying. I get it.
Because it's a reason, Notre Dame is believe it or not, Notre Dame is the Yankees of college football. Everybody want what the Yankees got. So every time Notre Dame go out and they recruit these kids and they get them kids to commit, just like with the Keeley situation, Keeley was I don't even know if he was a 4-star when Notre Dame when he committed.
Notre Dame was early on that, very early.
And what happened? Kelly leave. after he committed. He was committed during the Kelly era. So Kelly leaves. All these other schools, all these other top SEC schools start coming after him. Then Nick Saban, Nick the Quick come in and say, "Hey man, why you want to go to Notre Dame? They're not winning. They're not winning national championships. We are." He flipped the switch.
Yeah.
He didn't get as nearly as much playing time as I thought he would have at Alabama. And I don't know if he ever will. Now he moved to defensive end. I don't know what his situation is. I know one kid that I wasn't really impressed with, and that's Justin Scott. I was not. I watched his playoff games, and I was like, oh, okay, he got kids that's smaller than him pushing him around.
So, all right, let's recalibrate here. So tell me, you got the line right now. Tell this group, how should Notre Dame fans be looking at recruiting is right now? Like in your mind, how should we be looking at this situation, where we're at and where it's headed? Make us feel better, make me feel worse, whatever you're going to do. How should we be feeling and thinking about where this dynamic's headed?
Look how the top schools recruit. Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. They recruit down the stretch. They recruit early, but they try to flip these kids down the stretch. You got to think like, man, we're getting all these kids. That's the reason why you see so many Notre Dame fans say, well, I won't believe it till he's signed. The reason why they say that because these kids are committing super early, and then once they commit, all these other top schools come after them. You like the Ole Miss situation with Deuce Knight. I don't think Deuce Knight will ever go play for Lane Kiffin when you got Jim Brock here. But the situation is you give them an opportunity to flip these kids because you got them committing so early.
Yeah.
Now they can, and the comfortability of Notre Dame once these kids commit. It's like, okay, we done. They're ours now.
But see, that's really tough. No, wait, that's really, really tough. I totally understand what you mean about committing early and then they're like easy targets sitting there at Notre Dame's rack and you just know you have to worry about them and do all that. So how should Notre Dame handle that? You don't think they should they hold off in accepting some of these commit verbals that tell you you're the leader in the clubhouse? To veil some of that nationally, like how do you think they should approach that?
Man, if it's not the top guy, I am not. And I mean it, man. If it ain't the number one quarterback in the class or the number one receiver or the number one running back, I'm not accepting them. What's the name, man? Because these kids, you can't tell an 18-year-old kid, hey, you can't go on no official visit.
Right.
Because you verbally committed to us.
Yeah, that's just not going to fly, especially with higher end guys too. That ain't going to fly.
No, and let these kids, man, the best way to do it is let these kids go on these official visits, let them, and then, go from there. Recruit them hard. But if it ain't like a Bryce Underwood or a Julian Lewis or one of them kids, man, or DeCorian Moore, you don't accept. You see what Kelly did? He botched that with DeCorian Moore. So you can't, man. If it ain't one of the top kids in the country, if it ain't a 5-star that's one of the number one kids at their position, man, there's no way I'm accepting that many commitments because every time a kid commits to Notre Dame, it's like, oh, they got a new shiny toy. Let's go get them.
Yeah.
Let's go get them. And 9 times out of and majority of the time they really flip them.
Yeah, man, it's never dull in Notre Dame land. Hey, man, I figured you were going to have some thoughts on this. I really appreciate you dropping in on a Monday. Stay in the loop on this. I know you're tied in and I have a good understanding about a lot of this works. Stay in touch on this, all right? Call me again soon, man. Thank you.
All right.
I knew he was going to have something to say. MJH Irish, $20 hour. Thank you, sir. I love Notre Dame. Don't stroke me out, John. Be careful with your phrasing there. I'm glad you said out and spelled it right. Oh, I love this show, man. I really do. And you know what's getting me excited? The season's coming back. We need it back. I need it back. I just need it back. I need the season. I need football. I need this stress, baby. I need it and I want it. I need it and I want it. Oh man. Yeah. See what I mean? Pump faking. I said be careful with your spelling. Oh, and then the rest of it. You got to be careful there. You're going to give the wrong impression. Look at this. Look at this. My wife left me. The dog bit me. I had a triple bypass, all because of Notre Dame football. Yeah. Welcome to the life of a long Notre Dame fan. Especially if you're in my age range. That about sums up our entire lives, don't it? God love you. I'm just glad you're here with us. We'll get through it together. Am I frozen or is John frozen? I'm not showing that I'm frozen, and I'm showing no issues with the internet. It says that my internet's full go, so I don't think it's me. I get a little notice if my internet gets wonky, and I'm not showing any of those problems. 513, you're talking to me. Rodney's up next. What's going on, 513? Are you no longer with me? What the hell? Come on, man.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Gotcha. What's going on, 513? Welcome to the show.
Hey, sorry, I called my work phone and I never remember what the area code is, so that didn't make sense to me when you first said it. Not too much. Monday, another Monday. I think the first caller had the best stuff on Ivan Taylor. That I'm just going to agree with everything he said, and then a little reminder that you got three pretty intriguing safety prospects on the board for 26, and the way this works 2 years from now, we won't even remember half this stuff.
Yeah, it's so Notre Dame-y, though. The reaction to this is very predictable, and I do understand it. And what I'm trying to do is fight to a reasonable truth with all this about the big picture and what the depth looks like and the talent in that room and what it's going to be on one side of that. And on the other side, it's hard not to be frustrated when you feel like you're not able to hold the top rated guys in your class on one side of the ball or the other. That's really going to frustrate people. So I need to find like a comfortable middle ground reality to exist in that's reasonable, not one way or the other, where, oh, it doesn't matter if we don't land our best guy, but also not the end of the world. I'm just trying to find some homeostasis in the middle there where I could exist. What do you think?
Well, I think too, specifically this one hurts because it's trending toward Michigan. But
yeah,
for all the flack you might get from EJ and that whole crew, I mean, what? So Michigan wins 1 out of the last 13 or so. They've
exactly
had against us in recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, forget them.
Yeah.
But also the middle ground is the rest of the class is still stellar. And last class was great. 2026 is looking like it's going to line up to be nice. They're proving at every end of the ball. Maybe D-line is a little skew at the moment. Maybe they can fix that, but still not terrible. I mean, you're not getting in a bunch of 2-star, well, existing, but 3 stars, questionable kids on the D-line. So I thought the balance is interesting because I thought the point that the caller made on, why do we have these guys come so early? Why don't we wait till kind of the end of the process a little bit more to pick up? We're going to get to that point. Right now, you got to do that at Notre Dame. You got to bring them in early. You got to get them there early. You got to find good prospects early, get on them early. When the winning starts, everything starts to balance out, which is it might be the scariest part of this whole thing. But you can't sit on these kids at the moment because there's not that total proof of a long-term consistent winner. And
that's my question too. That's my question too. How does this calculation change? Should Notre Dame have like an 11-1 playoff year where you win a couple games? Like if Notre Dame puts a really high level product on the field, I'm not sure how much of an impact that's going to have on the pool of guys interested in Notre Dame, the time frame of all this. I don't know that, but I'd love to go down that path and have that experiment with some proof of concept on the field at a big time level. What do you make of it?
Yeah, sure. Talk about a win-win. I mean, yeah, you want to see them win. I think the minute Notre Dame gets in the Final Four, it looks good. Whether they win that game or they don't, and then they come back that next year, they're going to have a really nice looking class coming in. If they can get back in the playoffs and get somewhere around that spot, or maybe win one with TJ Carr or one of the new, Deuce, somebody around in the next 2 to 3 year period, and they show that consistency for just 2 seasons, I think all of a sudden Notre Dame's in the top 5 recruiting. You can't keep them out, and Marcus is going to be a huge brand. And young kids, Marcus Freeman, they're going to want to play for Marcus Freeman for a million reasons. That staff is fantastic. You've got incredible. I mean, Michigan's coming after not only our recruits but also our recruiting leaders in the program, like Chad Bowden and all that kind of stuff. So, we're ahead of the game almost everywhere you can look. And now the new facilities get built and all that stuff. Brian Kelly couldn't complain anymore. When they start putting that product on the field, and it's just a 2-year level of consistency with getting deeper into the playoff, making the playoff, getting deep into the playoff, it's over. And that's the biggest thing the SEC is going to fear. The Big Ten thinks they can beat us and get to our level. Ohio State does not. They're not afraid of us. But boy, the SEC and some of those schools that watch out. That's when you're going to really, when they start coming at us harder and harder and harder, that's when you know we've made it. But yeah, Notre Dame, I think they only need 2 years of consistency at a high winning level.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. And that's one of my thoughts too. Time flies. We're entering year 3 of Freeman, and it's been in my mind. Like, I know the work and the grind and the work ethic and the recruiting and all the effort and trying to change things behind the scenes to get more flexibility and things. Like, I understand all of that hard, nitty gritty work that isn't flashy, that gets no headlines. I see all that work. Now it's time for that work to start paying off where it matters. And the only place it matters is those 12 times a year on that field. And that's where I'm getting a little anxious of being like, I see the way they've changed things. I'm seeing the hard work being done behind the scenes to get things where they need to be on NIL or transfer flexibility or whatever all the things they're trying to do. It's got to pay off on the field. And I'm waiting for that moment to where it's like, here's the payoff for all that nitty gritty hard work behind the scenes. And it needs to be on the field. And damn it, it feels like it needs to be this year, doesn't it?
It has to be. Yeah, it's going to be, you got to make the playoff. And I honestly think you got to win one for it to be considered a successful season.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm with you on that. Oh, I'm with you on that. You can't just get in there and then get something stupid happen. You got to get in there, win a game, at least knock off that big bowl game loss. I'm with you. You can't just get in and bow out. You got to make some moves.
Yeah. Yep. And I think the media is ready to jump on it the minute they go. I know CBS Sports or somebody came out today and said that we were going to go undefeated. I think that the minute they start, I'm telling you what, and John, I really feel this. We're going to go in there and beat the absolute hell out of Texas.
Oh, I need it. I need it so bad. And I told Goolsby last night, I'm embarrassed to admit how consumed I am by the bigness of that moment. And I told Goolsby, I said, you need to calibrate me. Like, I don't know whether I'm over focusing on it or not focusing on it enough. I don't want to build them up to be Super Bowl champions when they don't warrant that, but I don't know exactly what to expect for them. And I need our guys to be ready for that moment. They need to be ready for that moment. Over prepare in August is better than under preparing. If you ask me, you gotta be ready.
Yep. And I get it. Texas A&M still has a lot of talent. Great coach coming in. Be afraid of the D-line, all that stuff. Prep for it. But I'm telling you, they're gonna whoop them. I mean, I think it's gonna kind of look like that Temple game. I think they played in Eagle Stadium when Temple was ranked years ago. Where it was kind of coming into that game, it's like, don't lose to a ranked Temple team. Like, don't. I know I'm not saying Texas A&M and Temple have equivalent talent. I'm just saying the moment kind of. Just the way it was going in, and everybody's kind of uneasy. And they came out there and just whooped and that's exactly what I think they're going to do in College Station. You beat the brakes off Texas A&M, and then ride that train as long as you can, because you're going to have some tests. And I don't fear Florida State in November. I think there's some smaller games that are going to be a little bit tricky, but yeah, you just go in there and steamroll A&M and walk out angry.
Oh, man, that would be a beautiful thing. You know what I did see, man? Of all the teams in the country, 82% of A&M's points scored are returning to the team, and that is number one in the country. Number one in the country. I didn't know that. I know everybody thinks this is just a run through and, they're going to be a mess because it's year one. You got 82% of their offensive points scored returning. I know they have athletes on defense. I'm a little concerned. Our weakness is that O-line week one, maybe not overall, but week one. And their strength seems to be some of these edge guys. I'm just telling you, it'd be a mistake to underestimate them. But it could also be tricky to overdo it too. And I'm trying to find that calibration.
That calibration is going to look like over pursuit and Riley Leonard for about 125 yards and 1.5 touchdowns on the ground.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing too. I mean, it's just, they're going to be, I have faith in Al Golden to make that offense look as bad as maybe USC's did last year. In the game.
Dude, you're so right on that.
Throw the ball.
You're so right on that. I was thinking about it too. Like I have a little anxiety about what that O-line and what that offense is going to be able to do right out of the gate in this environment. I do have legitimate anxiety about that. But on the flip side, year 3 of Al should be the best year yet. And I love that the way that defense is setting up with some reliable older guys, some younger athletic guys to mix in there. That's what's making me feel good is regardless if that offense sputters a little bit to find their groove, that defense should come in ready to go right away. And I expect that. I need that. Al expects it. Like they will be ready and I need them to be.
Yeah. And you've got Love and Space and you've got, just a stable of backs and some crazy athletes that can do some slot, even some outside stuff like Greathouse, and then tight ends. There's lots of avenues, and we're actually going to see an offensive coordinator for what feels like since the last time he was here practically, who can do something in a game and actually set some things up and build on that. I mean, I have no problem with Jared Parker. I don't like Tommy Rees for personal reasons. Not that I know him, but I'm just, he was hard to watch as a quarterback at Notre Dame. He drove me nuts, made my heart rate go crazy. And then as an OC, it was just, I didn't like his style, but they're not bad guys or anything. We now have professional experts on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
And I haven't seen that in a long time. And I'm really ready for it.
Yeah. It's, and it's another big philosophical question that I have is I don't know how to calculate Denbrock's DNA being all over this offense now. I know it's going to help the entire operation overall, but I just don't know how to calculate it or how it's going to manifest or look. But it's just, it's everything. It's the game planning heading into games. It's pivoting once you're in a tricky moment and your original plan isn't going the smoothest and you got to pivot on the fly and find something else that works. It's those last 2-minute drives of a half in a game when you need to put something together. It's knowing when to put the pedal to the metal or when to pull off the accelerator. Like, all of those big picture feel offensive things. I think Denbrock's going to make a big, big difference. I don't know how to measure it yet, but I feel like having him on one side and Al on the other, if you don't love that, I mean, it's hard to find a better pair of coordinators in the damn country, isn't it?
It is. It's impossible. I mean, in my opinion, that's a top group. There's some other teams that are really right there and close. But those are some incredible hires in the long and short term here. So, but I don't know how to measure it either. You can't go stats. Parker had great stats. It's the feel. Like, when you're beating Pitt to death and the offense looks great and everything, but then you're watching them not be able to get the first down they need to bleed the game out against Ohio State or be horribly impotent against Louisville.
Yeah.
And look like they have no idea what to pivot to. Even remember the radio conversation between Parker and the coaches?
Yes, I do. Not reassuring. It was not. I wouldn't have released that damn thing. I wouldn't have released it.
I wouldn't have put that out there.
Goolsby picked that apart. Goolsby ripped that apart. No, he's like, number one, it's none of our business. We shouldn't be hearing that play. It's too intrusive to the team. We should not hear that. Then who you hear, who you don't hear chiming in, the way it all went. Goolsby did not like that. It was a not the healthiest situation on that offensive play calling. God bless Troy. I don't know who he is, but I'm glad he wanted our man. God bless Troy. Like, this needs to all be different, man. It needs to all look and feel very different.
Yeah, it can't look like air traffic controllers screaming back and forth at each other on 9/11.
Oh,
You've
man.
got this, it's like it was a mess. And then you go for Stuckey comes through and goes, let's pick the freshman that I've been favoring the entire time. We have this big play moment. I
know but I think we're going to be in a better position there. So I don't know, man. This is a big year. There's a lot on the line for Freeman. There's a lot on the line for the team overall. This recruiting thing, it's always just going to frustrate people when this kind of thing happens, even though it's normal and whatever. It's just in the Michigan part. Everybody knows how I feel about them. So that's an extra kicker that's going to bother me. Anything else on the way out, man? You have not called here in over a year or almost 2 years, according to this. You need to call, man. Good thoughts, clear phone line. You need to call more.
All right. Yeah, I will. Last thought is just 38-17.
I love that.
Notre Dame walks out of College Station.
God, I love that.
Weigman throws 2 picks. One goes for a pick 6. And Marcus Freeman knows exactly what needs to be done, and they do it, and it looks great.
Oh, man. I love that very much. But really, good caller. It's been a while, but put me on your rotation, man. Put me on speed dial. Call after the games Absolutely. Or something this fall, will you?
Yeah, for sure. I want to do a late night one too. Well, those are great shows, so appreciate you guys doing those.
Oh, no problem. Thanks a lot, man. Put me as your emergency contact line. Give me a call. Oh, look at this. $10 holler Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. Tomorrow's my 53rd birthday, and all I want is ND to win a natty. Nick, you and I both, man. You and I both. I love your dedication to the cause, Nick. You are so Notre Dame. It warms my little heart. Kent, little late to the show. Welcome. It's the big show. All I picture is the big show in like that singlet that's like size 58X. You know what I mean? The big show, and it had the one strap. It was just a weird. It kind of looked like your middle-aged mom's swimsuit on vacation in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Like, not revealing, but like a swimsuit, and it just had the one strap and then like the full one piece with the one strap. That's what it reminded of. Well, it's the big show. Didn't he clothesline or something The Rock, and they made it so he went through the bottom of the ring. Remember that? Like through the bottom of the ring, and it broke through something, man. What a big dude. That dude's so big. I will say this. Guys like him, guys like Taker, guys like Kane, those are athletes. When you look at how big all of those guys are, and how nimble they were. Glenn Jacobs, especially Kane, so athletic. Look at the way he would flip backwards off the rope and land on his feet back on the main floor, not the mat. Like, you got to realize some of those big guys are so gifted athletically. Taker the same way, Glenn the same way, Kane. Big Show. Yeah, I know. He's the mayor. It's just the funniest thing ever. I want Kane to go up there as the mayor, and somebody's bugging him at the city council meeting. And he goes, I'll be right back. And he changes into the outfit, and he comes back, and he does the whole. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's hilarious to me. Oh, man. That is really, really funny. Rodney, what's going on, man? Calm everybody down. Make them feel great, Rodney.
Man, and I say this so many times, man, that recruiting is just there's just no. I honestly feel there's anything good that comes out of it following it. I'm talking about following it, because you're never going to be. You can't really get beyond the expectations of where if you start number one, you got no place to go but down.
Yeah.
I guess that's my point.
And if you're not at number one, then you're mad you're not number one.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at them now, for instance. Okay, if I didn't know any better, and I was just looking at the team rankings, I'm like, oh, Notre Dame fourth. Oh, this one's got a sixth. This one's got a third. Wow, we're doing really well as compared to last year. But when you follow it on a weekly basis, or God, even bi-weekly or monthly, I didn't even know about that. I didn't hear it until you mentioned it. And now it pisses me off. And I'm like, see, this is why I don't do that. This is why I just don't follow it anymore, really.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll hear things peripherally, but I just don't go on those. Because God, man, these people these recruits will just let you down. And I, again, looking at it from their standpoint, I can only imagine, how much pressure there is to. It's just the whole thing, man. I just hate it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I really wish there was just no compulsion.
Yeah.
To look at any of this stuff.
I know.
Until signing day.
I know. And I'm jealous.
Like if it was something that had to be hidden, like you just couldn't know about it, it's like up on the deep state, like, oh, what happened to JFK? Oh, we'll let you know 70 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I just wish we would just get the freaking
dude, it's one of those
find out on signing day.
Oh man. It's one of those things where you it's like a vice. You know it's bad for you, but you need your little hit. And you keep going back to it, but you know it's bad for you. And you know your mom wouldn't approve, but you keep going back because you need a little bit, just to get you by.
Yeah.
And it's, listen, I have a lot of, there is a growing segment of Notre Dame fans that say, I don't follow the recruiting thing at all. It's off the rails, out of control. I don't have the patience to deal with all of it. Let me know who signs on signing day, and then I'll look into those kids and how good they are or whatever. There is a large segment of this fan base that is finding a way to divorce themselves from that roller coaster, which is rockier than ever with NIL and social media and the portal and everything, all the games going on. Everybody can get paid. It's wilder than ever before. And so there are some people who are able to divorce themselves from it fully. Obviously, I could never do that just because of the nature of what I do every day. I have to have a general awareness of what's going on. But man, it's a roller coaster up and down. And I'm struggling to calibrate to find the actual reality, not my over emotional, I'm mad of everything, but not like everything's fine. Don't worry about it at all. I admit that I'm struggling to find a reasonable middle ground of how to approach this. Not on the positive, not on the negative, but the reasonable. And I don't know what that level is.
Yeah, man. I can't explain it to you, John. I just slowly over the years stopped caring as much. It wasn't like one thing happened and then I just, now I'm not going to care. You can't really. It's just like when you go through things in life where you have to try to adjust something about your personality or you look at yourself, okay, I got to change this about it. Doesn't happen overnight. And then eventually you keep hitting the wall and eventually, okay, that thing that I was working on is actually, now I think about it, that thing's gotten better, that thing I was working on or whatever it is in life. And with recruiting, it's just like, I remember just thinking it was bothering me. There was times when I'm like, this cannot be good for and I'm talking like whatever, a decade ago or whatever it was when I was so into it or 15 years ago, whatever it was. And I'm like, and I still get caught up with that sometimes, like if there's a big time recruit that I know we got a chance at and he commits and then he, I'm following him and then he decommits. It sucks, man. It sucks. And then you think to yourself, and then so many of these recruits later, as years go by, you look back and you realize they never made anything anyway. They never popped anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there are obviously some that did. Yeah. And there are obviously some that we got in the 11th hour we didn't expect to get that turned out to be great. But I'm just saying, I can't tell you the number. Remember that there was that. I wish I could remember his name. There was that defensive end that committed to Notre Dame. Remember he spread his grandpa's ashes on Notre Dame Stadium. He dropped them from the plane. So I can't remember his name. He was a Charlie Weiss recruit, and when he decommitted, it was there was no chance that would happen because he spread his grandpa's ashes on Notre Dame Stadium. And I remember when he decommitted, people lost their minds. And then years later, he never made it. I don't think he ever, nothing ever big.
Well, you know what they should do? Go vacuum Grandpa's ashes up and throw him wherever he ended up going. Get him out of here. I don't want any of those non-Notre Dame committed ashes. Get those ashes out of here.
You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I can't picture the name, but I remember the situation. I want to get one of those car vacuums and get them ashes out of here. That's hilarious.
God, I remember the Manti Te'o thing. I mean, the pins and needles we were on that night, because I remember reading all the Notre Dame football boards. One had him definitely was going to USC. Oh, shoot. Then it was like, oh, no, they might now go to BYU, and then, oh, I'm here in Notre Dame. And the next day when he announced Notre Dame, I just lost my mind. I was so happy.
Rodney.
And then hearing Te'o talk about it,
Beefeater says that guy was a major ash hole. That's very clever. I like that, Beefeater.
That's great, though.
That's a good one. I like that. That's good.
But yeah, Te'o, remember he talked. I saw that documentary of his or something that came out, I don't know, kind of recently, like a year ago or something. The thing on Netflix or something. And he was talking, and he was going to USC that night. I didn't realize it was. I thought he had. I just assumed, when he announced to Notre Dame, whatever. I'd assume all these years later that was just, I knew there was pressure to go USC, but I just assumed he knew he was going to Notre Dame. A couple weeks at least leading up to it. Hell no, he was going to USC that night. And just the next day, he just realized, okay, that's crazy. Like I never would have, I never knew that. It's, man, I'm telling you, man, it's just not. We're gonna be just fine, man. I mean, we're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, it's just always everything that happens at Notre Dame is magnified, big or small, bad or good. Any media story at all with Notre Dame at all is going to get more run and blown up on the positive and the negative. And this is kind of where we're at. I'm Rodney, let me ask you this. I'm trying to find a level ground here. Practically, other callers have made a really good point. Notre Dame's going to be fine on the back end of the defense. They're recruiting and developing back there very, very well. They're going to be able to field physical, long athletes. They're going to be fine. So you have that on the practical end. And on the perceptual end, though, you could say, okay, fine, but it's not a good look for Freeman to be losing the top-rated guys multiple years out of your class towards the end of it. That's a problem, and that's not good. How do you balance those two realities? Because I see truth in them both, that we have some depth and you're going to be fine back there and we're developing. But it's also kind of a trend now that Notre Dame's losing some of its best guys later down the road, and I don't like that. How do you marry these realities and level out in a place that where you think it's reasonable?
Man, I mean, again, I go back to the fact that I looked at the team rank because I was like, okay, where are we at? Where are we at right now? Because I knew we were number one for a while. I don't think anybody expected that to last. I'm like, okay, we're number, 3 on one, 4 on the other, 6 on the other. I'm like, if, we may drop a couple more after that. I don't know. But it looks like, from what I can tell with the teams that are in it, that there's really about 7 teams. It looks like, there's Notre Dame, Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia. There was Texas A&M in there, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame. Looks like those 7 teams. Oh, LSU is in there too. So maybe, is that 7? Is that 8? That are kind of vying for those top spots. And I kind of expect that's where we're probably going to end up at the end of the recruiting cycle. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. I want to kind of be, realistically, those teams, and Oregon too. Oregon was in there. I think that was the 8th team. Yeah, those are about the 8 teams I would expect, to kind of be in that, based on what we've seen in the last couple of years. I'm not expecting Notre Dame to hit a top 3 class. I'm just not with, but I am expecting them not to drop out of the top 10. And I know a lot of these things are semantics, like, oh, does it really matter if they're 1 spot lower? What does that really mean on the field? Probably not much. I mean, probably not, Are we getting the guys that we need? Are we hitting our needs? Are we getting athletes? Yes, we are. It's just like anything. If we hadn't heard about this Taylor guy, it wouldn't be a big loss because he wouldn't have already committed. It's just the whole thing of someone committing. We get on board with it. We think about it. We start, reading about the guy's bio, and then when they decommit, it's like, it's almost like someone broke up with us or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're doing great, to be honest with you. Overall, we're doing great.
Yeah.
We're just getting used to it now. We're getting used to it now. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's one of those frustrating things. And then when it's Michigan's involved, you're going to crank up everything goes to another volume level when it's them. Rodney, you helped me kind of level out a little bit here, little balance. I appreciate it. You got anything else on your mind? Thanks for touching base on a Monday, brother.
No, really, that's it, man. That's it. It's not as these things. They suck at first, man. It's like anything else. It sucks at first. It sucks the first thing. But think about it. The Blair guy that committed a few days ago. Let's say we didn't know about either one of them.
Yeah.
And then, part of this is just because you research these things, and you're reading about it, and it builds up inside you. It's really more of our fault than it is anything.
Rodney, I got to tell you, buddy, I got to tell you on the way out, I think you're going to laugh at this. Your calm and reasoned perspective on this situation kind of balances out your post-game call after the Ohio State game last year. It kind of, you're starting to balance out. You're starting to balance out the ledger. You're balancing out the ledger because you're being supremely reasonable right now. And it's helping balance out after that nightmare. So good job here. We're balanced.
My God, dude.
Yeah, good job.
Good check, man. Good check. That's good. That's good for me to know and put that in my memory banks, man.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Good job, man. Have a good Monday. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
You too, man.
Take care. Oh, that's funny. I just remember Rodney calling after the Ohio State game, and he went after Pat. He was just out of his mind, and he's like, Pat, you're the one that said USC's more important than Ohio State, and because of that, we didn't take them serious, and now look what happened. We only had 10 guys out there on defense. Oh my God, I love this show. Even when it makes me mad and sad, I'm glad to be here. Morning, John. Did you see the White Sox car in the NASCAR race? Won't spend money on players, but they'll spend money on a NASCAR team. $5 hour from Phil. No, I didn't watch that race. What a joke. Baseball's done to me. The next time I have an interest in baseball will be when Jerry no longer owns the White Sox, either by death or sale. I don't care which it is. I just need one of them to happen soon. There is no hope for the White Sox until that happens. And even then, you got to hope you get an owner that actually wants to be good. I know that's a wild idea to own a professional ball club and care that it's competitive. So yeah, none of that's gonna happen until that happens. What else? I'm Taj. I'm coming to you. Brian Kelly's cigar ashes are spread all over the Warren course. And you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Pat. It reminds me of Pat. We're golfing. He's got the big old stove going. Pat's even got one of them clips you put on the cart so you don't have to put the cigar in the wet morning grass and ruin it. And, it starts unfolding. Oh, my God. It's beautiful. I'm telling you what, Notre Dame wine and cheese. Taj, I'm coming to you. Hang in there. John's commentary reminds me of a certain Sox commentator. I can hear John saying, and another blown call by Hernandez. What are you doing, Wagner? I love Hawk. I'll never not like Hawk. Hawk was the voice of my baseball childhood my entire life. And I love the man. Yes, he was out of line. Yes, he's out of control. Yes, he didn't make sense at the end. I don't care. Hawk is a legend, and I love him. You know why I love him? He loved the White Sox. Everything he did, yelling about it you gotta be bleeping me. He loved the White Sox. And when things didn't go right, he couldn't handle it and he lost his mind. I love Hawk. I'll always love Hawk. It's going to be sad to me when he passes away. That was my baseball childhood, was Hawk. Being petty, being difficult, holding baseball grudges, old school baseball, how you act, all of the whole Hawk thing. I love him. I love that man. It's just a big part of my childhood. No, Mark. Hawk Harrelson is not the same as Hawk Tua. Those are two different. Oh my God. That's funny. John, my son's in Chicago for a few days. Any recommendations? What part of the city? I try and avoid downtown like I avoid the plague. I have no interest in being anywhere near it, and I avoid it. What part of town? Hopefully it's a good, fun neighborhood where you can find stuff to do. But there ain't nothing downtown. Wrong Hawk. Yeah, that's not Hawk Tua. All right? Taj is a 269. And remind me, am I wrong? Isn't that how the song goes? 269, damn girl fine. Suck it to me one more time, get low. Isn't that how it goes? Anyways, 269, you're up on the line, get low. What's going on?
Hey, yeah. And it's 369, John.
There you go. Dude, I'm starting to show my age. I'm starting to show my age. I can't remember 369. Damn girl fine.
When that song came out. I was in senior high school when that song came out. But
I'll get it out.
Okay. Just wanted to call in and kind of weigh in on this whole recruiting stuff. And I've said this to a lot of my friends that don't really follow college football and don't understand why we're all losing our minds. And I kind of explain it as recruiting is blood sport.
Yep.
Everybody is fighting for these kids. And I know Notre Dame seems like everybody's going after our guys. One, because they all want them. And two, they're doing this to each other as well. You don't think for a second that Georgia and Alabama aren't sitting up there fighting each other for each other's kids. Heck, look at that Dylan Raiola kid. He was an Ohio State commit for the longest. Then Georgia takes him to the point where he moves to Georgia to play his senior year, only for him to decommit and go to Nebraska. So, guys, calm down on this. This is the back and forth sniping about the kids. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're not the only one that's happened to.
Yeah, but you've been around Notre Dame. You know this is how it's going to go, man. And if you know this is how it's going to go, everything gets blown up. On the positive and the negative, we all blow it up, and it all carries more weight than the actual reality of the situation. That's just what comes in Notre Dame media land, okay? That's what comes with it. I'm just trying to find a reasonable position to operate from that isn't too extreme on the high or the low. I'm trying to find that balance.
Mm-hmm. And I can see that. And so far, for the most part, you've kept everything centered. But, I was listening to this earlier in the show, and some of the other callers said, well, maybe we're recruiting the kids too early. Well, let's not forget why we got in trouble with recruiting in the first place. The fact remains that going after these kids early is a good thing because Kelly would always go after these guys too late.
Yeah. There's something to that.
The kids that we're targeting kids more in the South, in the West Coast. You don't need to explain to a Midwestern kid the significance of Notre Dame. Notre Dame's somewhere in their ecosystem, especially kids in Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin. They're always around. You're always going to see somebody with a Notre Dame T-shirt or Notre Dame hat. But you go to a place like Oklahoma. I was in the military. I was stationed in Oklahoma for the last 2 years. You'd be hard pressed to find a Notre Dame hat anywhere in Oklahoma area.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not. So those are the type of kids you kind of have to get them on campus early. You have to buy them in early. You have to kind of like, hey, you might not have heard about us, but this is what we need. We need to get them on campus early and often, so that way, when they're ready to make their decision, it's not like they're going to another planet. They're familiar with it. Like, Deuce is a kid in an area we never really recruit. And, you know, the fact that he's so comfortable coming up here to South Bend, you know, that's what makes me feel confident that, okay, well, you know, we've kind of done a good job of the sales pitch for a kid that we don't normally get out of those areas. So yeah, the early recruiting works for those kids, the kids that aren't really as familiar with the Notre Dame legacy.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be really hard to be like, you have these really good top 200 players or whatever, and they want to verbally commit to Notre Dame? You can't be like, can you just not do that now? And we're going to wait. Like, don't you always want that verbal commitment so then you know you're the leader in the clubhouse? Don't you always want to be in that position? But then it also does make you kind of a sitting duck target in a way, because they know, everybody else knows they're committed to Notre Dame. That's who we need to beat. And then they could work them. But I just don't see any scenario where Notre Dame would not want to get the verbal commitment as early as possible from one of these top end guys. I just don't see, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, some of these other schools, you know, yeah, they can afford to sit late because, you know, you already have other entities pushing for them, whether it's the weather, whether it's ESPN, because, you know, they're always on TV or something like that. With a school like Notre Dame, when we already have higher academic standards anyway, we have to kind of sell a little bit more aggressively and a little earlier, so that when it gets close to signing day, it's like, okay, well, I'm comfortable with what I know about these guys.
Yeah.
So I want to commit, and I'm confident in my commitment. I can just go on and go to South Bend, and I feel like the rest of it is going to take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. Why did my microphone fall over? I got a ghost in the studio. All my stuff's moving. Am I having an earthquake? Anyways, God, what a Monday. What an exciting show. So I don't know, man. Listen, I totally understand the people frustrated, and I am too. I also understand people that are like understanding that this is just how it goes. Like, we're just going to be frustrated. You just can't be losing your top rated guys, man. More classes than you keep up.
And
that's the issue though. Like,
Taylor either.
Nothing.
Like, all we've heard is just some rumors from a publication, and I'm sorry, they're not worth the paper that they're printed on. You know, until Taylor himself makes a statement saying, I'm decommitting and going to Michigan, I'm just going to say, hey, he's here. Maybe he's wavering. Maybe his dad's like saying, hey, make sure you're comfortable in your decision, because he's gone through this process before, not at this level, not at this high of a level, but he's gone through this process at least somewhat.
Yeah.
You know, especially going all the way through to the league. So it's like, guys, it's just, nothing is set in stone yet. Nothing's going to be set in stone until signing day. So
yeah, it's man, it's a wild ride, and it's never a dull moment. Anything else on your mind? Nice to touch base with you, man. You going to be able to make it to the Miami, Ohio tailgate? That'll be the next one.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm just trying to push around some funds right now. My wife just got a new job, so we'll try and see if we can lock down those tickets and see if we can make it to the tailgate.
That'll be beautiful, man. Hey, thanks for the reasonable perspective on a Monday. Have a good day, man. Thank you.
All right, yeah, you too.
See ya. I met him and the family at the last tailgate for the Blue and Gold. Great guy. Really nice guy. I am a little surprised how many of you are Little John catalog experts. With the 369, damn girl, fine, sucker, do me one more time, get low, get low, get low, get low, from the window to the wall. Oh my God. Freshman year of college, that was the summer that song hit. And then we went into college, man, I was cutting rugs. Oh, baby. I had my crunk juice going. You don't even know. And then they had like Little John, but then it was like in Little John and the East Side Boys. And then we had like the Yin Yang Twins that kind of shot off that chicken like a salt, chicken like a salt. Anybody remember that? I can't be making this up. Chicken like a salt, chicken. Oh, come on now. Oh, man. Yeah. And then, yeah, that's like, dude, I'm not like an Usher guy because what am I going to listen to, like R&B or something? Like, I'm not trying to date Brandy in the 90s or something. But man, that just telling you, yeah, was just one of those songs. And now you can't go to any wedding. They still playing, yeah. And Get Low too, man. Get Low, dude. You got to remember the Yin Yang Twins. Chicken like a salt, chicken like a salt. Come on now. Oh, those were the days. Steven says, no, I have good musical taste. Hey, you want to talk about classic rock guitarists in the 70s? That too. But when I was in college, you want to talk about Stevie Ray Vaughan's heavy hand, but smooth hand at the same time? We could do that. But at that time, when you're like 19, 20 years old, are you kidding me, man? I cut more rugs than a guy that works at the carpet factory. You don't even know. Ask Pat and Angela. They were there for it all. They can vouch. I ain't BSing. But it does bother me when people are like, oh, John, dance, do this. But you can't just tell somebody to dance. I need the right beat to move my feet. You know what I'm saying? I need the right beat to move my feet. It cannot just be, oh, any beat, and then you want John to dance. What do you think I am, like some monkey on a string? I ain't no monkey on a string. I need a good beat. And you know what? They're becoming more and more rare. This music's garbage these days. Now I sound like an old man. Back in my day, we used to have real music like Elvis. Oh my God. I was listening to Steely Dan Greatest Hits the other day. I admit that. Somebody mentioned I was literally driving around. I'm telling you what, those dudes are funky. Those dudes are funky, bro. Like they were unbelievable. And it's a shame. It's a shame Walter died, and then the other guy's a little crazy now, but it's all good. And I did see Steely Dan live not long ago, and it was bad because the guitar guy was dead, and the other guy's losing his mind and was just like yelling the F word from the keyboard. I'm like, bro, come on. I'm like, it was a little weird. So they're having problems. But that's what happens when you're old and you've been on the road the last 50 years. You get a little nutty. All right. Notre Dame Stadium should play Tupac. They should play a lot of stuff. They should play Tupac. They should play Snoop. They should play like some of those good beats to get people going instead of the weird crap they do. Oh, it's third down. Let's play techno music. Why don't I punch someone in the head instead? Like, can we not do that? Like, I'm going to hit myself when I hear the music. They need to let me pick the music around there. I'll liven things up a little bit. Please tell us one of your stories with details. I got all sorts of stories. Oh boy. Yeah. California love when you beat USC. Every time you score against USC, whenever you sack USC, you blast the California love to rub it in. You got to get creative with this stuff. Kent says, laughing, imagine Notre Dame playing that. They already play whatever that song's called that I don't even know. I got hoes calling a young blank phone. If you're playing that, you could play Tupac. Give me a break. Whatever that song is. If they're playing that, you could definitely play Tupac. Give me a break. That song has inappropriate lyrics and it mentions the distribution of hard narcotics. And they're playing that in Notre Dame, so give me a break. You could go for Lil Wayne. What Lil Wayne, though? That's a huge catalog. That could be anything. Huge catalog. Mo Bamba. I don't even know what that means. What is Mo Bamba? Is that a code for like drugs? What is a Bamba? And what do you want Mo of it for? What do you want Mo of it for? Don't we have a DJ? Yeah, we do. We do. You're really going to call me old that I don't know what Mo Bamba means? I don't know what that means. Mark says, I bust out the sprinkler at every wedding reception. I just can't. Mark, I want to see you cutting some rugs, man. I want to see it. I want to see it. And I still told you, if Notre Dame ever wins it all, we're having a wild party like you wouldn't believe. We're having a wild party like you wouldn't believe. And it's just going to be, it's going to be wild. And I just hope it happens before me and Pat are like 90. And then we win. And we said we were going to have this party and I'm too old to even move or enjoy it. And then I'll stroke out. That'll be it. Oh, Notre Dame won. He gone. Hawk Harrelson, he gone. Gas. He gone. Oh, man. All right. This was a very well-rounded episode. I had a lot of fun, even though I'm a little bit frustrated with some of the current dynamics, and I really would prefer Notre Dame hold on to its top recruits. I really think this was a good episode. Very productive, very healthy, and I enjoyed it, and I had fun. I would like to thank you guys for being here. I would like to, could you imagine this podcast when John is 90? Yeah. Back when I was 40, life was so much simpler. I don't know why I'm doing all this. Like, I just figure I'm going to have the shakes. I don't know. I remember 40 years ago when I was yelling about that recruit. It's just weird to think of myself at 90 doing like YouTube. You just picture YouTube being like a younger, modern thing. Picture me at 90, like logging into my YouTube account. Whoa. Unbelievable. All right, you guys. This has been kind of a wild morning, and I had a lot of fun with it. Maybe the next time we need to sounds like Grandpa from The Simpsons. Hey. Maybe next time we could do, we'll do some music. You guys could throw me some classic hip hop songs you like, and we'll see if I approve or not, or if they pass the dance test. Here's another one I could cut a rug to, PYT. PYT, the Michael Jackson, that's a wedding one. Oh, man, you give me about 7-8 Miller Lights in the bloodstream, and you give me that PYT. Oh, I'm out there grinding on your second aunt on the other side of the family like you wouldn't believe. That's me, seriously. Every wedding, they do PYT. I'm out there cutting rugs. You know, your Aunt Linda starts backing it up in a way she hadn't since the 80s. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you, I got away with middle-aged women at a dance floor at a wedding. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Hide your grandma, too. Watch out. All right, this is ending before it gets worse. This is ending. I'm out of here. I don't know why, but I enjoyed this show. Thanks to all of you donating, all of you calling. Everybody corrected me. 369, damn girl 5. Whoa, no, suck it to me one more time. Get low. Get low, get low, get low. And now Johnny's gonna go. Bye.